can be confirmed. To you, my Yah, do I lift up my soul. And trusting you, he always kept me whole. And left my enemies deep in their holes. Let none that wait on Yahweh be ashamed. For shame on those who sin without a cause. Show me your ways, please teach me your laws. Oh Elohim of my salvation, I'm staying down and patient. As a child, all the while I'm waiting. Remember not the sins of my youth. Lead me in your truth, and he'll give your soul ease. The earth shall remain inherited by a seed. The secret of Yahweh who fears Elohim, who believes everything. And to every word spoken, you can't take heed unless you hear somebody curse. You know you did the same thing. That's why I'm begging Yah for mercy and His love and kindness, cause I know that I ain't worthy.
The seven seas, captivity is taking hold upon me. Who frightened me and now we flee from fallen leaves. The grinding grief from all the blood, how people sing. And now we cry, where is the word from Elohim? And so we figure we are His wives to be submissive, but we dismiss it. It is of this reason we have fallen victim to the lies that your root will prey and pursue. Rebellious of His Son, forgotten that He is one. Broken the holy ordinance, rejection of reproof. Then acknowledge what we do. Now we return back to the truth.
Yah's word is the truth. Yah's decrees is the proof. Local 12 just released the scoop. It's the summer of Sam. They calling it Ham. Made us worship the Son of Man. And somehow that the moon, they stole our style and gave it to Rothschild. Now we exalt the vow, but hit the turnstile. Yah's Nabi set the crooked things straight. Praise Yah from the rising to the evening to the closing the gate. Exposing the fake. Yah give the truth a daybreak. Now the liars can't escape. And the haters can't relate to the light that truth makes. See the wicked's pride deflate. You adore Yah, magnify Yah, cause He's great.
To the Holy One of Israel, to the Creator of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is therein is, by saying hallelujah. Praise the mighty Yah. Yah is righteous. Yah is holy. Let Yahweh be magnified. Once again, the Creator has allowed us to come before you another day, another night, to bring to you the true words of the Most High. My name is Mowreh IshYAH, YisraEL, of the house of Israel, located right here in Cincinnati, Ohio, 1907 Vine Street, bringing to you nothing but the truth. And yes, it is true. All we're going to do is tell you the truth. For Yah ordained me to tell you the truth, so this is what I'm going to do. And who is this Yah? Yah is the creator of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is therein is. Yah is the Elohim of our fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzhak, and YisraEL, whom you may know as Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yah is our king. He's our judge. He's our lawgiver. He's our only Savior. And not just of Israel, but the Savior of the world. And I praise the Mowreh Yah for allowing us once again to bring you his great exalted words. Yesterday or last night we were dealing with what should Israel be doing in the last days. Truly, if Israel believe we are in the last days, can we tell? A lot of people looking to Russia and China, North Korea, the state of Israel, the Palestinians. Many people are looking at the Trump administration, Senate, Congress, and a lot of other things to determine the time that we're in. But all these things really telling us, teaching us, and showing us that we're in the last days. Is this what the Creator wanted our focus at? Now, if indeed these things are telling us that we're in the last days, then what should we be doing? And are we doing the things that one can see, that one can look at, and one can tell, just like you trying to tell by looking at North Korea and Russia and Syria and Egypt? Can anybody look at you and say, oh man, we're in the last days? And if we are in the last days, what should we be doing? And we brought to your attention one of the first things that Yah wanted us to do, needed us to do, and asked us to do, not asked, commanded us to do in the last days. And I'll show you what this is. And then we'll go to what should Israel be doing in the last days, part 2. So just a review of part 1. In the book of 2 Chronicles, this is what it says. Excuse me, I'm still getting over a cold. I'm 99, maybe 98% there. Still have a little cough. So I apologize to all those who have to endure my cough as I teach. The more I talk, the more I cough. But I'll try to keep it together as much as I can. 2 Chronicles, the 7th chapter. And we're going to start reading at the 14th verse. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves, and that's the very first thing he talked about, is humbling ourselves. And we dealt with this last night. And we're going to deal with it a little bit tonight also, because it's that vital, it's that important. And for some strange reason, this is something that our people have not learned or been capable of doing. if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, I will forgive their sin, and will heal their land. And this is something that we all want done. But are we willing to make the sacrifice for it to be done? To make it happen? To bring about the reality of going home, having our sins forgiven. This is what we should be doing in the last days. What else should we be doing if we want to go home? We got to humble ourselves. And we definitely have to pray. But humbling ourselves. And see, the Creator, in His infinite wisdom and His everlasting mercies, there's two ways that He approached humility and meekness. And this is what I try to teach people all the time. You'll find this in the book of Isaiah 51 and Psalms 51. And this is what I share with many of our people, so they could not say they was not warned and told. Psalm 51. This is what it says in Psalm 51. For thou desirest not sacrifice, else would I give it. Thou delightest not in burnt offering. The sacrifices of Elohim are a broken spirit, a broken and a contrite heart. O Elohim, thou wilt not despise. So what is this letting us know? Well, it's letting us know something very important. And that is what the Creator is looking for are broken spirits and broken hearts. A broken and a contrite heart. Which means this. Either you learn how to break your own spirit and break and develop a contrite heart yourself, or you get your spirit and your heart broken by something outside of you. And I can assure you, you rather break your own heart and break your own spirit. Because when you allow something outside of you to do this, you don't know whether your spirit and your heart will be broken to the point of no return. So you want to try to do it yourself. And the Creator, in His everlasting mercies, told us when to do it. He said, before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as the chaff, before the fierce anger of Yah come upon you, then He said, seek meekness. And this is something that must be done in the last days, because the Creator have no intentions of delivering and saving the prideful of heart, the haughty in spirit, the proud look. He don't have no intentions on that. Many of our people, the only reason they will come out of captivity is because they will be brought low. Their knees will be brought low to the point of bowing down to the will of Yah. And even though they're not calling upon the Most High now, I can assure you there's going to come a time where everyone will call on the Most High. But Yah know all those who he had to make to bow their knees, rather than willingly sacrifice your heart to him. And the only type of heart Yah accepts is a willing heart. Now, how do you know your heart is broken and contrite? How do you know your spirit is broken? Well, let me tell you. One sign that demonstrates to us that you really humbled yourself, and it demonstrates to the Most High that you humbled yourself. Number one, you'll stop complaining. You don't realize every time the children of Israel complained, the Almighty heard it. So whether you around a bunch of group of people, you can be just, it's you and your best friend. But Yah still hear the complaining. You want to stop the complaining. Man, Israel this, and Israel that, and Israel don't have nothing, and Israel ain't nothing. And the men of Israel is that, and the women of Israel is this. Just complaining, complaining, complaining. The other thing that demonstrates that your heart is not humbled and not contrite is you're never satisfied. A lot of women want men, but then as soon as a man get around them and they talking to a man, it's not going to last because they're not humble. As soon as a man get around a woman and he go from woman to woman to woman, it's only because he's not humble. And a lot of women and men are not together is because of pride. Here the Creator told us not good that man should be alone. Here the Creator told us that he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing to obtain favor of Yah. Here it is, the Almighty tell a man and a woman, in particular a woman, that is a reproach. In other words, that's the way to take away her reproach, is through marriage. But who wants that? The humble. They wants that. And this is what we got to find in the last days. And why? Because this is the only way to walk with the Most High and find favor from the Most High. This is how Yah will spare you. Let me show you a couple of things so you can see this. In the book of, since we're in Psalms, go to the book of Psalms 22. And we recapping about last night. The very first thing Israel should be doing is finding humility. In the book of Psalms 22, not Psalms 22, I apologize, Proverbs 22. What should Israel be doing in the last days? Just recapping on number 1. And this is what it says. It says in Psalms 22, verse 4, watch what it says. By humility and the fear of Yah are riches, honor, and life. See, in other words, this is how these are the various, not only just signs of humility. You might not have a bunch of riches, but you're going to have honor. You might have honor, but you might have more riches. But riches, honor, and life. And the most important thing you want is life. In other words, the reason why I say life is because this is how Yah, He will save you. He will spare you. He will pass over the various transgressions that you've committed just because of your humility. That's why it says this in the book of Proverbs 18. And Yah is returning, and He's looking for the meek. He's actually looking for the meek. In other words, He's not looking for people who complaining, and they ain't gonna never be satisfied. Because as soon as Yah save you and do for you and answer your prayers, if you're not the humble, if you're not the meek, you're still not going to be satisfied. You're going to find some other things that Yah ain't done. Here it is, our people, when they was in the wilderness, their foot didn't swell, their clothes did not age or get old. He fed them with the bread of heaven, but they complained the whole time. Matter of fact, 10 times Yah said. 10 times you tempted the Most High. It says in the book of Proverbs 18, and I'll read the 12th verse. It says, before destruction, the heart of a man is haughty. And yes, a man can have a haughty heart. Just like a woman can be haughty, so can a man be haughty. But once you see that haughtiness, then you just look for destruction. Whereas they might be talking about the law, talking about the commandments, keeping the law, keeping the commandments. Then as soon as they get haughty, then now you don't have to keep the law. You don't have to keep the commandments. Everything about the law, the commandments, and the scriptures are vanity. They don't want to have nothing to do with it. And then they will scorn all those that have something to do with it. This is what happens when haughtiness rise up in a man. Before destruction, the heart of a man is haughty. And before honor is humility. And I was saying yesterday, humility comes before honor, but I was just talking too fast. Honor. Before honor is humility. You're not going to get no honor without first finding humility. You got to humble yourself. Which means this is why you know this is number one. Because Yah is not going to honor no man that come to him praying, that come to him crying, that come to him seeking him and calling upon him without humility. Just to show you this in the book of Proverbs, the 1st chapter. Just want you to see this. Because we're talking about what should Israel be doing in the last days. Here it is. Our people trying to set themselves up real good. Even though they say we're in the last days, to be a better slave. But how many of our people are setting themselves up to be a better servant of the Most High? Who's thinking about that? Who's thinking about their service and their work towards Yah? This is what it says in Proverbs, the 1st chapter. 20th verse. Wisdom cried without. She uttered her voice in the streets. She cried in the chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates. In the city she uttered her words, saying, How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. Because I've called, and you refuse. I've stretched out my hand, and no man regarded. But ye have said at not all my counsel, and with none of my reproof. And that's where people at. They don't want to be reproved. They don't want to be corrected. They don't want to be told that they was wrong. They don't want to even see that they're wrong. I ask people to read certain things, and I ask them, and particularly the leaders, I ask them here, check this out, study it, and tell me where I made my error. Tell me where I'm wrong. Show me where I'm wrong at. Now, I may add, they don't hand me nothing. But everything I teach and believe, I hand them the proof, study it, and show it to me. Just show me where I'm wrong so I can admit it, and I can tell the world, and I can humble myself. But nobody want to be corrected. It says, 26th verse, I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. And let me tell you, your fear is coming. It's coming. It's inevitable. What goes up ultimately and eventually must come down. It's got to come down. And right now, the wicked is high. But the wicked is not going to be forever. They coming down. And when they come down, what preparations have you made to rise? And if you not preparing your heart for humility, then you're not doing nothing. You're not doing nothing but talking. And that's what a lot of people are doing, just talking. 27th verse. When your fear cometh as desolation, your destruction cometh as a whirlwind. And let me tell you, the very things that's going to come to our people and happen to our people, that's how it's going to come. Like a whirlwind. The warning that you're going to get, all it is enough for you to hide. But you're not going to hide no hiding place, because the hiding place that the Creator prepared for you, you wasn't willing to do to know where it is. And that's seek meekness. Or one of the things. It says in the 28th verse, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. And all through the book it says, if you seek me, you shall find me. But not when it's too late. Because there is a time associated with this. There's a timetable. And the Almighty gave us the timetable. He let us know what it is. And this is why I'm trying to cry out to you with all sincerity of heart of what Israel should be doing in the last days. Find a way to humble yourself before the Most High. You know what you got to do. All you got to do is do it. 29th verse. For that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of Yah. And the knowledge that we're trying to tell you is humble yourself. Stop getting angry so fast. Stop getting so mad. Stop allowing anger to rest in your bosom. Stop blaming everybody for your demise and destruction. Just because you have problems in your life, just because bad things happen to you, whether it be relationships, whether it be finances, whether it be other people just going in and talking about own up to your own destruction. It may be that it's not even your fault, but it may be your fault. But at the end of the day, it don't matter whose fault it is, because Yah can deliver you out of all troubles. And that's what he wants you to acknowledge. This is what he wants you to humble yourself to. And this is how he wants you to move. Don't hate the knowledge. Don't let it be in your heart that women just got to get together and we got to do our thing. And no, women got to get with men, and men got to get with women. How are we going to be one people with this separate attitude? That's heathenistic. That's what the heathens do. They got these women movements, then they got these gay movements, then they got these men movements, and they got all these movements, and everybody separated. That's not unity at all. We can't take a page from our enemies and then act like it's righteous. This thing ain't righteous at all. This is more confusion. They were none of my counsel. They despise all my reproof. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way, and be filled with their own devices. Yeah, worrying about, any women going to be at the table? Why are you worried about that? What you should be worried about is righteousness at the table. Is the word of Yah at the table. That's what you should be concerning yourself with. Any elders going to be at the table? Do we have a diverse group at? We worried about the wrong thing. You can have 1,000 women at the table, but that don't mean there's going to be good counsel just because a woman is there. Humble yourself. This is what you got to find. If my people that are called by my name humble themselves, this is what Yah desires. In the book of Isaiah 57, let us turn there. Isaiah 57. Of course, back in the day, and the elders will tell you this today, the reason why we have all these problems, because we got a bunch of chiefs and no Indians. In other words, everybody want to be the head now. And everybody is the head because they don't listen to nobody. Nobody listen to nobody, and nobody can be told anything. You know, and people go from place to place looking for those who going to tell them what they want to hear. And it was prophesied that the Creator told us all our people want to hear smooth things. Prophesied deceit. He wasn't talking about Christians and Muslims and all that. That ain't what he was talking about. He was talking about Israel. In other words, all Israel want is the prophecy of deceit. That's it. Only very few don't mind being told hard things. The truth. It says in the book of Isaiah 57. And watch what it says. Isaiah 57:15. For thus said the high and lofty one that inhabited eternity, whose name is holy. Of course, y'all know who that is, right? Really, there's only one high and lofty. He's called the lofty one. His habitation is from eternity. And watch what it says. I dwell in the high and holy place. With him also, in other words, this is who the high and lofty one dwell with, whose name is holy, who inhabited, his inhabited is from eternity. Watch what it says. I dwell in the high and holy place with him also that is of a contrite and humble spirit, to revive the spirit of the humble and to revive the heart of the contrite ones. In other words, that's why you don't have to fear getting low, getting down. You don't have to fear that at all. Don't fear that. Don't fear. I know some women, they fear not saying nothing, because they feel like if they don't say nothing, this thing ain't going to be corrected. So they have other people tell them, girl, you better speak your mind. Girl, you better tell them how you feel. Girl, you better do this. Girl, you want to. Well, what about the Most High? Is the Most High part of your relationship? Is the Almighty with you? We think we just got to say something. We got to fight our own battles. Well, some battles you can fight. But at the end of the day, if you really want to fight a battle, humble yourself and see what the Almighty will do. See how the Almighty will fight for you. See how the Almighty will intervene. Because all you got to do is humble yourself and cry to Him. And the Almighty said, He hears the cry of the humble. But we don't want to cry to the Most High, because then that demonstrates weakness. Who said that? Did the Most High say that? That when you cry to Him, that demonstrates weakness? It further says, for I will not contend forever, neither will I be always wroth. For the spirit shall fail before me, and the souls which I have made. In other words, the Almighty is not going, He's not like you and I. And that's the problem. We think the Most High like us. He's just like us. And because we think He's just like us, that's how we deal with the Most High. Like He like us. So, if you cuss and talk a certain way, you do it in His presence. You act a certain way, you do it in His presence. Because He sees everything, He hears everything, and He knows the women and the men that is full of pride and haughtiness, and He knows the ones that refuse to humble themselves. He know them real good. And one more thing before I move on to the next thing, because it's real important to understand how important humility is. Again, the Creator said, if my people shall humble themselves and pray. Because if you pray without humbling yourself, you might as well not pray, because it's not going to be heard. It's not going to be heard. We brought this out yesterday in the book of Leviticus. Turn there. And what are we discussing? What Israel should be doing in the last days. Should we be watching North Korea? Should we be watching Russia? How's that going to save us? Should we be watching what Donald Trump do? That what we should be doing? Or should we, and the word seek, if you seek meekness, that means you're searching it out. You're looking for it. You're looking and searching everywhere, every way, every place, everything to find it. You lost your little diamond ring or driver's license or wallet or $100 bill or whatever else. You will look for that thing. But who is looking and searching for humility? That's what the word seek means. In the book of Leviticus, the 26th chapter, it says, starting at the 40th verse, if they shall confess their iniquity and the iniquity of their fathers with their trespass, which they trespass against me, and that also they have walked contrary unto me, and that I've walked contrary unto them, and brought them into a land of their enemies, and that's where we at. Now, most of Israel teach we are in the land of our enemies, and most of Israel teach that we are in the last days. So why don't you see this thing where it says, if then their uncircumcised hearts be humbled, and they then accept of the punishment of their iniquity. This is what all Israel should be talking about. Meekness, humility. How can a humble people be so divided and so scattered and talk about one another so much and hate one another so much, scorn one another so much? Those are not signs of a humble people at all. Not at all. All you have to do is teach the truth. It's not your words anyway. You don't have to mention other people. You don't have to scorn other people. You don't have to put down nobody. All you got to do is teach the word of Yah. Of course, you're going to have to put down these religions. You do have to put down the ambassadors of hell that got our people snatched and took their souls. But even if you didn't, the people still will criticize you for doing that. And why? It's not your words. They the word of Yah. And this word have to be told. His word had to be pointed out. You had to be corrected. And the scripture says, correct a wise man and he will love you. Correct a fool and he will hate you. I ain't listening to that. Well, that's a sign of arrogance, a sign of haughtiness, a sign that you're not humble. That's what that is. I don't care what he say. You don't care what the Most High say? Because that's what we're reading. The word of Yah. If their uncircumcised hearts be humble, and they then accept of the punishment of their iniquity, then will I remember my covenant with Jacob, and also my covenant with Isaac, and also my covenant with Abraham. Will I remember, and watch this, and I will remember the land. Why wouldn't you want that remember? Find that humility. You know you can find it because the Almighty said if you seek it, you're going to find it. But not only should we be seeking meekness in the last days, we also should be seeking righteousness. It says this in the book of Zephaniah, the 2nd chapter. Let us turn back there so you can see this. Zephaniah, the 2nd chapter. The 3rd verse. Watch what it says. Well, first verse. Because in the first verse, we're going to deal with this. Because this is also one of the things that we should be doing in the last days. And what do it say? Zephaniah 2:1. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired. And we're going to talk about that because that's also one of the things. But right now we're talking about the meekness and the very next thing. And you'll see what that is. Before the decree bring forth. In other words, there's a time. Do you know when the decree is being brought forth? Most of our people don't even know what the decree is. Before the day pass as the chaff. Before the fierce anger of Yah come upon you. Before the day of Yah's anger come upon you. Seek Yah, all ye meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness. Seek meekness. It may be ye shall be hid in the day of Yah's anger. And here it is. The other thing that the Almighty told us to seek in the last days is righteousness. Not just meekness, but also righteousness. And what is righteousness? Well, let me show you what righteousness is so you can understand what you should be seeking. What do the word seek means? To look for. To try to find that what something that is lost. And you know righteousness is lost. You know meekness is lost. Because the Creator would have never told you to seek it. To search for. Let me show you what righteousness is so you can see exactly what you should be looking for in the last days. And let's see if it says anything about Russia, North Korea, Syria, anything about the state of Israel, anything about, see, in other words, you'll read these things in prophecy, you'll read things about them in prophecy, but these are not the commands that Yah gave his people to do. These are commands that we're reading. These are laws that we're reading that one is supposed to do in the last days. This is not a suggestion to gather yourselves together. It's not a suggestion to seek Yah. It's not a suggestion to seek righteousness. It's not a suggestion to seek meekness. That's thus says Yah. Watch what it says in Deuteronomy, the 6th chapter. When you got a bunch of meek people around, you won't even argue with one another. Because meek people, all they be doing is trying to humble themselves. Well, maybe I could be wrong. Well, yeah, you might be wrong, but I might be wrong too. So let's figure this thing out. That's what meek people do. Instead of trying to prove where each other is wrong. Trying to prove which one is right. But meek people, I reconsider, or I'll consider, or you got a point, you might be right, but also you got a point, you might be right. In other words, meek people, they don't even have to argue. They don't have to fight and fuss. They don't have to worry about vengeance. Meek people don't worry about no vengeance. But prideful and haughty And arrogant people, oh, they worry about vengeance. They want to get back. They got a lot of revenge. They want to see you brought down. They want to see your heart melt. Watch what it says. Deuteronomy 6. '20th verse. And when thy son asketh thee in time to come, saying, what mean the testimonies and the statutes and the judgments which Yah our Elohim have commanded you? What do this mean? What is the meaning of this thing? Then thou shalt say unto thy son, we were Pharaoh's bondmen in Egypt, and Yah brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand. And Yah showed signs and wonders, great and sore, upon Egypt, upon Pharaoh, and upon all his household before our eyes. And he brought us out from thence, that he might bring us in to give us the land which he swore unto our fathers. And Yah commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear Yah Elohim, for our good always, that he might preserve us alive as it is this day. And it shall be our righteousness, if we observe to do all these commandments before Yah our Elohim, as he has commanded us. So when we go to see righteousness, there's only one righteousness to seek, and that is the commandments of the Most High. One of his commandments is the Sabbath day. And we got people talking about we can't keep the Sabbath day. Well, is it righteousness? Sure, it's righteousness. It is our righteousness. If we observe to do these commandments, because that's what righteousness is. Just to show you, once again, that this is righteousness, the commandments in the book of Psalms 119. Because what we're discussing is what should Israel be doing in the last days. Should we concern ourselves about all the various things that all the other nations are doing? In other words, you can't tell the difference between Israel and the other people. But our concern, regardless of what everybody else doing, our concern should be the very things Yah commanded us to do. These are things he commanded us to do in the last days. He wanted us to first humble ourselves. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves. It says in Leviticus 26, if their uncircumcised hearts be humbled. We got to humble ourselves. Then, because once we do that, watch what happens when you seek righteousness. That's meekness. But when you begin to seek righteousness, it says in Psalms 119, and we're going to look at 172. This is what it says. My tongue shall speak of thy word. For all thy commandments are righteousness. That's what righteousness is. Yahweh's commandments. It's his commandments. And so when we begin to seek his commandments, then we're seeking his righteousness. And once we begin to do his commandments, then it is our righteousness. And Yahweh is looking for a righteous people. He's not only looking for a meek people, but he's looking for a righteous people. Commandment keepers. That's what he's looking for. And watch what it says in the book of Proverbs. Proverbs, the 2nd chapter. And this is number 2. What should Israel be doing in the last days? No one can go around just talking what Israel supposed to be doing in the last days. You shouldn't even have that question no more. If you heard these words. Now there's other things, and we're going to get to them. But this is number 2. In Proverbs 2, this is what it says. And we're going to start reading at the first verse so you can see what this is saying. My son, if thou wilt receive my words and hide my commandments with thee, so that thou incline thy ear unto wisdom, and apply thy heart to understanding. Yea, if thou criest after knowledge, liftest up thy voice for understanding. If thou seekest her as silver, and searchest for her as for hid treasures, then shalt thou understand the fear of Yah, and find the knowledge of Elohim. For Yah giveth wisdom, out of his mouth cometh knowledge and understanding. He layeth up sound wisdom for the righteous. He is a buckler to them that walk uprightly. He keepeth the paths of judgments. He preserveth the way of his saints. And watch this 9th verse. Then shalt thou understand righteousness, judgment, equity, yea, every good path. You're not just going to understand righteousness. You're going to understand judgment. You're going to understand equity. You're going to understand every good path. And who don't want to understand that? Every good path. And undoubtedly, we don't understand every good path today because there's a lot of bad paths, bad choices, bad decisions that Israel consistently, over and over again, doing that is not good. But once you seek righteousness and take hold to it, you're going to understand every good path. Every good path. Show you this. In the book of Psalms 111, just want you to see this. And now we're talking about righteousness. We talked about meekness. And these are the things that Israel should be doing in the last days. In the book of Psalms 111, this is what it says. 7th verse. The works of his hands are verity, judgment. All his commandments are sure. They stand fast forever and ever, and are done in truth and uprightness. He sent redemption unto his people. He hath commanded his covenant forever. Holy and reverend is his name. The fear of Yah is the beginning of wisdom. And watch this. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praise endure forever. And what is doing his commandments? Doing his commandments is our righteousness. That's our righteousness. This is what we must do in the last days if we desire to be saved. If we desire to be redeemed. If we desire to be a part of that remnant. Not only because it's the right thing to do, but because it is the commandment. It is the law. By law, we supposed to be righteous and seek righteousness. By law, we supposed to seek meekness. These are not suggestions. These are not testimonials of some people who was just sitting in a seat of power. No, these are not words of men. This is the word of Yah. Watch what it further says about righteousness in the book of Hosea. And let's see if this is a suggestion. Hosea, the 10th chapter. In the book of Hosea, the 10th chapter, 12th verse, watch what it says. Sow to yourselves in righteousness. Why? Why do you sow to yourselves in righteousness? Well, it tells you we don't have to add nothing, take nothing away. Watch what it says. Sow to yourselves in righteousness, reap in mercy. Because when you sow righteous seeds, what you think you're going to reap? Well, you're going to reap mercy. Yah's looking for a righteous people. Why do you think we out there feeding the poor? Because that's righteous seeds. Why do you think we don't tolerate scorners? Brothers and men that refuse to do the right thing. Women who refuse to do the right thing. No one should tolerate these things. Why? Because these are righteous seeds. Why you think we rise before the hoary head, honor the face of the old man? Because these are righteous seeds. See, our children see us rising, then they gonna rise. This is how you raise your children. Because these are righteous deeds. And you're going to reap a lot of mercy. And there's a lot of other things that we're going to have to sacrifice and learn to do. And we're going to bring those things to you. Because Israel still is nowhere where they need to be. Not even the elite. The elected ones. And there is an elite Israelite where they trying to be as have very high standards. But even they is nowhere where they could be. Sow to yourselves in righteousness, reap in mercy, break up your fallow ground, for it is time to seek Yah till he come and rain righteousness upon you. And as I told you before, we're going to let you know what this rain is. So you can study it now and look at it now and search it out right now so you won't be shocked and surprised when I show you what it is. But sow to yourselves in righteousness. This is because Yah's looking for the righteous. He's always looking for the righteous. And let me show you that in the book of Ezekiel, the 14th chapter. In the book of Ezekiel 14, this is what it says. 14th verse. Let me start at the 12th verse. The word of Yah came again to me, saying, Son of man, when the land sinned against me by trespassing grievously, then will I stretch out my hand upon it, will break the staff for the bread thereof, will send famine upon it, and will cut off man and beast from it. Though these three men, Noah, Daniel, and Job, were in it, they should deliver but their own souls by their righteousness, says Yah Elohim. And why? Because Yah is always looking for righteousness. If I cause noisome beasts to pass through the land, and they spoil it, so that it be desolate, that no man pass through because of the beast, though these three men were in it, as I live, says Yah Elohim, they shall deliver neither sons nor daughters. They only shall be delivered, but the land shall be desolate. In other words, don't let nobody trick you and make you think that your righteousness can save other people, because it cannot. It cannot. Or if I bring a sword upon thy land, and say, sword, go through the land, so that I cut off man and beast from it. Though these three men were in it, as I live, says Yah Elohim, they shall deliver neither sons nor daughters, but they only shall be delivered themselves. Why does the prophet keep mentioning these three men? Because these three men are an example, a testimony of righteousness to Israel. That's why it continues to mention these men. And all these men have great righteousness in common. I'm going to show you. I'm going to let you know what these three men did. Or if I send a pestilence into thy land and pour out my fury upon it in blood, to cut off from it man and beast. Though Noah, Daniel, and Job were in it, as I live, says Yah Elohim, they shall deliver neither son nor daughter. They shall but deliver their own souls by their righteousness. For thus says Yah Elohim, how much more when I send my forth sword judgments upon Jerusalem, the sword and the famine, noisome beast, pestilence, to cut off from it man and beast. Yet behold, therein shall be left a remnant that shall be brought forth, both sons and daughters. Behold, they shall come forth unto you, and ye shall see their way and their doings, and ye shall be confident concerning the evil that I brought upon Jerusalem, even concerning all that I brought upon it. And they shall comfort you when you see their ways and their doings. And ye shall know that I have not done without cause all that I have done in it, says Yah Elohim. So what are these people doing? And what did Noah, Daniel, and Job do? Well, the Creator said he seen righteousness in Noah, in his generation. And he said Noah walked with him. So you know Noah had to be humble. That's number one. And it literally said he seen righteousness in him. And Noah undoubtedly was a man not living like the people that was around him. He totally separated himself to the extent that the Creator was able to pick him out like a little flower, like a little plant amongst the trees, to show that he was different. He was a different type of tree, a different type of plant that had grown up, and he refused to be like other plants. And what about this Daniel? This Daniel sacrificed unto the Most High and purposed his heart not to eat the king's meat or drink the king's wine. Now, how many Israelites do you think would do that? You got Israelites laughing at other Israelites just because they don't eat meat. Ha ha, you don't eat meat. Ha 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 ha. You don't drink wine. Ha ha ha. What is that to laugh at? Because you don't eat meat and you don't drink the king's wine. As a matter of fact, the most intelligent people and spiritual people and wisest people don't drink wine and don't eat meat. Especially while they're in captivity. Why would you want your mind altered, and why would you want to be sick? Just put the alcohol down. I know there's a lot of men right now talking about, where's that in the law? He just speaking his own words. That ain't the law. I thought we supposed to have been talking about the law. What was Daniel keeping the law in captivity when he said, I will not defile myself with the king's wine? Our people don't know what they drinking. Matter of fact, watch what it says in the book of Proverbs. Show you how Daniel was a man before his time. Watch what it says. Proverbs 30. Proverbs 31. This is to all the Israelites that love drinking and get mad when you tell them about drinking. Watch what it says. I know how David drunk and Noah drunk, and matter of fact, Noah got drunk. Yeah, but what you got to say about this? Proverbs 31. The words of King Lemuel, the prophecy that his mother taught him. What, my son? And what the son of my womb? And what the son of my vows? Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroy kings. Now, if you're a real man, you'll sit up and say, I want to know what destroy kings. Since I'm a king, I want to know what destroy kings. It is not for kings, O Lemuel. It is not for kings to drink wine, nor for princes strong drink, lest they drink and forget the law and pervert the judgment of any of the afflicted. Because ultimately, this is what happens. Men who drink, that's exactly what they end up doing. And I know a lot of people that drink, and every time they talk about the law, I just shake my head. Sixth verse. Give strong drink unto him that is ready to perish, and wine unto those that be of heavy hearts. Let him drink and forget his poverty, and remember his misery no more. Now, if you're going through something, have a drink. But let that be the exception and not the rule. And then I wouldn't drink then. Just go to the Most High. Humble yourself to the Most High. Would you rather give up your soul for a drink? Well, not Daniel. Furthermore, go to the book of Deuteronomy 29. Since our people like the law, and Deuteronomy is the law. And this is what it says in Deuteronomy 29, starting at first verse. These are the words of the covenant which Yah commanded Moshe to make the children of Israel in the land of Moab, beside the covenant which he made with them in Horeb. And Moshe called unto all Israel, and said unto them, Ye have seen all that Yah did before your eyes in the land of Egypt, unto Pharaoh, and unto all his servants, and unto all his land. The great temptations which thy eyes have seen, signs and those great miracles. Yet Yah have not given you a heart to perceive, and eyes to see, and ears to hear unto this day. And I've led you 40 years in the wilderness. Your clothes are not waxing old upon you, and thy shoe is not waxing old upon thy foot. And watch this 6th verse. Ye have not eaten bread for 40 years now, neither have ye drunk wine or strong drink for 40 years. And why? That ye might know that I am Yah, thy Elohim. If you want to know Yah, your Elohim, you better know what sacrifices to make. But if you want to forget some things, just have a drink. If you're ready to die, just drink your sorrows, drink yourself away. But if you want to know Yah, Make your sacrifice. That's all you got to do. Make your sacrifice. And what is it? The sacrifice of righteousness. I know I be getting, are you saying we shouldn't drink in this? Well, all I can do is read to you the scriptures. All I can do is tell you the truth. This is our righteousness. And we got to seek it. If you seek it, you're going to find it. What was so special about Job? Look what Job said. Or look what is said about Job. No wonder the Almighty talked about these great beings and their righteousness, which is the second thing we should be looking for in the last days. It says, sow unto you righteousness and reap mercy. What are you doing? What are you sowing every day? Every day, what are you sowing? In the book of Job, the first verse. There was a man, the first chapter, first verse. There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job. And that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared Elohim and escheweth evil. Is this
90 seconds
what you're doing? Watch what it says in the second chapter of Job. The third verse. And Yah said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth? How many in the earth? There's none like him in the earth. A perfect and upright
60
man.
seconds.
One that feareth Elohim and escheweth evil, and he still he holdeth fast his integrity. O thou movest me against him to destroy him without a cause. Because that's what Satan would do. Satan, just like everybody else, he wants to be right. But the only one that knows right is the Most High. That's why we got to seek it from him. For his words, his commandments
10 seconds.
is our righteousness. And we got to seek that in the last days. What else? Every day, these things we should be seeking. And we're not done yet. We wanted you to see this meekness. We wanted you to see this righteousness. And we'll deal with part 3 tomorrow of what should Israel be doing in the last days. So until tomorrow, Yah love you, and so do I. Shalom.
Oh, yeah, I hear it. it can be confirmed. To you, my Yah, do I lift up my soul. And trusting you, he always kept me whole. And left my enemies deep in their holes. Let none that wait on Yahweh be ashamed. But shame on those who sin without a cause. Show me your ways, please teach me your laws. Oh Elohim of my salvation, I'm staying down impatient as a child all the while I'm waiting. Remember not the sins of my youth. Lead me in your truth and he'll give your soul ease. The earth shall remain inherited by a seed. The secret of Yahweh who fears Elohim, of who believes everything. And to every word spoken, you can't take heed unless you hear somebody curse. You know you did the same thing. That's why I'm begging Yah for mercy and His love and kindness, cause I know that I ain't worthy.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.